All right, perfect. So before I jump into tonight's call, which is going to be all about creating content, I want to just take 2 minutes and do some quick recognition. So whether you want to unmute yourself or you want to drop it in the chat, you can shout out yourself, you can shout out a teammate, but brag to us, tell us something good that's happened this week, this month so far. We'll do that for like 2 minutes. Who wants to start?
I can start. I want to shout out Amber, who is speaking at our next Super Weekend. So that is exciting. If you are going to Super Weekend, or if you haven't bought your ticket yet, make sure that you do, especially to cheer on Amber, who is speaking. That is so exciting.
I'll jump in next. I want to shout out Kate because she just has recently come back to her coaching business and she's already like guns blazing. She's organizing a free group with a bunch of other partners. So she is on a roll and taking action right away. So great job, Kate.
I would like to shout out Shelby for crushing it on her reels and going viral on her TikTok stories that she's been doing.
And I'm gonna shout out Michelle because she spent the last week, I think, in Hawaii with her family. But when we sat down and she started as a coach, we talked about what her goals looked like. And Hawaii was something that was on her vision board to be able to contribute to through her coaching business. So just really cool to like have those conversations and then get to sit back and watch those moments come to fruition. It's like my favorite part. So
I would just like to shout out all you guys. I had such a fun time at the trip. It was so good. Thanks for organizing the boat. Seasickness is no fun. But we made it through it. But anyways, it was a great time. And I really appreciate all you girls leading it and organizing the boat trip and just being around. I had a blast. So thank you.
I'll quickly shout out Karina, who is hella pregnant and still on our team call.
all right, one more thing before we jump into things tonight is that it was announced that there is a Success Club trip next year. And so if you were on this year's Success Club, I don't know about you, but it was literally my favorite Success Club trip that I've been on in the last 5 years. I felt like we had such good quality time together and it was such a blast. And so I'm excited and looking forward to next year. So if you were there this year, you know that you don't want to miss next year's. And if you weren't there this year and you're watching the stories, put this as something on your vision board, set your sights on this. It is achievable by everyone. If you don't know what you need to do, it's so simple. Help 3 people a month, literally hit Success Club 5 every month, and you're like pretty much guaranteed a spot on the trip for next year. So add that to your vision board. We don't have the location yet, but if we know Beachbody at all, we know that it's going to be somewhere incredible because they never disappoint. So that's something that you have to like work towards every single month. That's not something that you can wake up next February and decide that you want to hit. That's something that you have to like set your sights on for the long term. So make sure that that is something you're being aware of and pushing for. We're in the last week of March. There's still plenty of time to hit Success Club. You could spend an hour tonight creating your next group, posting on social media this week, which we'll talk about, and you can have Success Club locked in by Friday. So know that it's possible for you. Know that all it takes is literally making a choice. It's 3 people. Hopefully we will see you all there next year because it's going to be a blast again. But with that being said, I'm going to hop into tonight's team call. Let me share my screen and put this in president. Can we see that? Thumbs up. Okay, we're good. All right. So tonight I want to take you through like content creation 101. If you're someone who is newer to Instagram, newer to Reels, maybe newer to sharing your coaching journey, I think you're going to get a lot out of this. But I hope that even if you're someone who has been sharing consistently on social media, there's still a few nuggets that you can take away from tonight's conversation. I am going to leave time for Q&A at the end. I got some questions from my team ahead of time for tonight's call. So I'm going to hit on those things kind of as we go through the call, but we're definitely going to leave time for open conversation at the end of tonight's conversation once we get through the actual content. So first things first, when it comes to social media and sharing on Instagram, sharing on TikTok, sharing on Facebook, kind of whatever platform that you've chosen, the most important thing is getting clear on your message. And I think that this is where I see a lot of people struggle when they go from being like a person doing these workouts to becoming a body coach, because it's really easy to think that you need to just share workouts. You need to just share nutrition. You need to like share what every other coach is sharing. But in my experience, doing the opposite is what's going to help build more success. And the way I think of social media and why I think social media is so important is because your social media following and who you connect with is the top of your funnel. So if we think of like recruiting, whether it's to a boot camp or to the business, think of it as this funnel. And at the very top, someone is a stranger. And the first step is to convert them from stranger on the internet to follower of your page. And then from follower of your page to customer to coach, right? And that's the ultimate goal, is to have them purchase. So the first top of the funnel is what we're going to focus on tonight, which is taking those people from strangers on the internet who have no idea who you are, who've never seen your content, to following you on social media so that they can then get to know you. So for me, if I only posted about body, people could see that everywhere. There's tons of body coaches. You probably know a ton of body coaches. Your friends probably know a ton of body coaches. And for me, people aren't signing up with you to do body. They're signing up with you because they want to like be a part of your group, right? Because they want to be close to you, because they are influenced by you. And so if you're only sharing exactly like the Beachbody cookie cutter stuff, you're building a social media off of selling a product, right? Instead of building a social media off of a personal brand. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight, because that's what I think is so important. Very rarely do I think people connect with you on the body stuff. Very rarely do I think people, I mean, like there's outliers. I'm definitely an outlier where I found Shauna, and found Shauna because I was looking for fitness related content. But I think that happens maybe 1% of the time. What I think actually happens is that people connect with you maybe on the content you share about being a mom, on them wanting to travel more, on them working remote and wanting to like change up their life, on the relationship content you share, on the friendship content you share, on the fashion stuff you share. And then they follow you. And then you're the person that they think of when they are ready for the body thing. And so I'm going to be completely candid and tell you that I want to say this lightly because I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, but I don't invite in the typical way that you will see people invite, and I still hit Success Club. And that's because I connect with people on things outside of body. And so when they think of me, when they think of needing something workouts, because I'm still consistently sharing the body stuff in my stories, I'm the person they think of and they come to me, right? But we've had conversations on other things. And so that's kind of what I want to take you through tonight. Don't take that as permission as like you never have to invite again. You still have to invite while you work this process. But the goal, I think for a lot of people, is to not to have to send tons of messages every single day and to ultimately have people come to you, right? And so I'm going to teach you this piece of having people come to you through social media, knowing that you have to do this alongside the inviting until you get this nailed down. Does that make sense? Cool. And so tonight's goal is to build a personal brand instead of selling a product. So we're going to workshop through some of this. This is my web. I want you to grab a piece of paper and we're going to work through yours together. In the center, I want you to draw a big circle and I want you to write what makes you, you, question mark. I'll give you 3 seconds to grab a pen and a piece of paper. So in the center, what makes you, you? And so this is my example. And I kind of started it to give you an idea of what I want this to look like. But I want you to think of 3 to 5 things that make you, you, and only one of them can be a healthy lifestyle. So for me, that looks like travel, right? Everybody knows that. Healthy lifestyle, travel is one of my pillars. That I'm a 20-something is part of my identity, right? I feel like I share a lot of like, live life while you're young, YOLO, what other 20-somethings are going through. I love fashion. as much as I can while living minimally. But think of what are the 3 to 5 things that make you you, and I want you to drop those 3 to 5 main pillars in the chat. So for Shauna, it's that health and fitness is one of them, right? A healthy lifestyle is one. Another one for her is that she's pregnant or she's about to be a new mom, right? Another one is maybe that she's a dog mom. Another piece is maybe that she lives in a small town or whatever it is, right? Those are examples for Shauna. Shay is maybe that she's a newlywed, right? She's in a long distance relationship. She's in the process maybe of moving to a new country, right? Those are 3 pillars. Health and fitness can be a 4th, but health and fitness can only be 1. And so once you've done that, I want you to write your 3 to 5 in the chat. So Denise, empty nester, travel, menopause, farming, country life, health and fitness. That's one of them, right? Like a healthy lifestyle can be one piece. If you don't know, I want write help in the chat and I'm going to help you figure out what your 5 are just based on what I know about you. Rebecca, mom, wife, teacher, healthy lifestyle. It could be like as simple, you guys, as like reading books. Maybe you share what you read, right? It could be as simple as where you live, if you share recommendations for where you live, right? Or maybe you don't do that yet, but that's what we're going to work through tonight. Kelly, family, outdoorsy, dog, cat, mom, avid reader. Perfect. Shay, long distance relationship, new wife, immigration, 9 to 5er who wants freedom, better future, personal development. Love it. Jody, baking, family, travel, reading, 50. Joss, healthy lifestyle, renovations, DIY, dog, mom, farm life, corporate girly. Love it. So what you're not doing on this call is nothing, right? So you're either dropping your 5 in the chat or you're writing help and I'm going to help you. So once you have those 4 pillars or 3 to 5 pillars, I did 4, we're going to break it down even farther, right? Because in each of these buckets, like under healthy lifestyle, we can break that down to, you see, fitness and nutrition, right? Then it becomes 2 farther buckets. So for each of these, I want you to think, how could you break that down even farther? How could you get more specific? So if it says mom, for example, are you a girl mom? Are you a boy mom? Are you a mom to toddlers? Are you an empty nester? Are you a mom to teenagers? Because all of those things look very different, right? I can say travel. I can break that down even farther. Do I travel alone? Do I travel with my boyfriend? Do I go on vacations? Do I only do luxury travel? Do I only fly first class? Do I do hostel travel? Like all of those pieces are very different things that would connect with very different people, right? So I want you to break those down. So for each one, try to think of at least 2 ways that you can break it down farther. And this is just an exercise we're going to fly through here, but you can like really, really expand on this web. And I promise you, this is how you don't run out of ideas to create content around. Okay, so Emily says, healthy lifestyle and moderation, body positivity, dog mom struggling with the rest. What do you do as a hobby, right? I know, Emily, you like to read just from watching your just Instagram stories. I know you have a full-time job. So what part of your, I'm sure that's a big part of your life. What does that look like? Katie says, healthy lifestyle, 20-something beginner cook. That's perfect. I'm stuck. So again, think about like your hobbies. What do you do for fun? It can be so simple. Is it skincare? Do you love skincare? Is it reading? Is it, you love to shop? You love fashion? You could also go onto your feed and look at what are the videos that pop up on your feed, right? Because they're probably not just health and fitness related. Like if I opened my, say TikTok is a better example because I really love TikTok. If I opened my feed, the first 5 videos are probably going to be on like 5-ish different things that the algorithm has learned I'm interested in. So the first one is a travel video. The second one is around creating content. The next one is another travel video. Another travel video, a travel and fashion video, a prank, because I watch funny videos. Like, look at what yours are on your feed, and that can give you an ideas of what do you like to consume. That's probably also who you are, right? And then from there, you can see I've broken it down even farther, right? So fitness, I have to get specific on fitness. Fitness could look like Pilates. It could look like bar. It could look like postpartum fitness. It could look like strength training. It could look like heavy weightlifting. It could those are all different pieces of fitness, right? It could look like at-home workouts. It could look like at the gym. So I want to get more specific, and I want you to break those down again, even farther. So we can do that for fitness. We can do that for nutrition. So when I'm thinking about nutrition, I'm like, okay, I like to see nutrition hacks. For example, if anyone's seen me share like the yogurt with the ranch powder in it, right? Like that's a nutrition hack. I'll share recipes, but even recipes I could break down further. Gut-friendly recipes, dairy-free recipes, gluten-free recipes, right? So I want you to break yours down until you feel like it is something that is very specific. We can do that for like, I just put examples here, right? Of like full-time travel. Okay, then it's what I would consider like in between travel, because I don't fly first class, but I don't live in hostels, right? So it's somewhere in between. I can say remote work and travel, right? So we're getting more specific. The goal of me breaking all this down for you is to give you ideas for things to post outside of Beachbody. Because again, if you're posting 3 to 5 times, ideally only one of those 3 to 5 times is health and fitness related. And there's different approaches, but this is my approach. Like you could be someone who's super niche and only post workout videos. And if that works for you, that's cool. But for me, I don't find joy in only posting workout content. Right. And so I don't want to niche because there's a lot of parts of me that I want to share. And there's a lot of parts of me that I can connect with people on. And so my approach is to post on my feed to find my people. The video on my Instagram feed and on my TikTok that's going viral right now is a video about coffee. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I've seen people in real life and they tell me, I love when you share the coffee shops that you go to when you travel. Like, I can't tell you, right? And so I made mental note of that. And that's something that I have added more into my content, right? Or I continue to share. So posting on my feed to find my people. Those are the like non-Beachbody related things. But of course, like 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 5 is something healthy lifestyle related. And then you sell in your stories. So you'll see me recruiting to boot camps. You'll see me recruiting to coaching. You'll see me talking about my next group in my stories, because the goal is for me to expand. You're not going to grow your network from your stories. Stories can't go viral, right? You're going to grow your network from your feed posts and then sell to those people in your stories where you can talk to them and they can hear your voice and your emotion and your passion and whatever. That doesn't mean you can't post before and afters, like I said. And that doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. I'm just giving you kind of like my approach and how you can diversify, because I think where people get stuck is that they only post in their stories about Beachbody and then they keep treating their Instagram like their personal Instagram page. And then that doesn't make it so it can go viral, and that doesn't make it so you can grow your audience, right? Any questions here before I keep going? Is this helpful? So this is your web to start you on. I want you to continue to work down this web, okay? Get super specific. And then once you're super specific, you can go search hashtags for that topic on Instagram. And that can give you ideas to post. So for me, I could go on Instagram right now and search long distance friendship. And I could see videos, I could find audios that are trending, I could save those. And one of the other questions I got from my team was, how do you create content in a way that it doesn't take you 3 hours to create a reel? Nobody has time for that, right? So whenever I'm on social media consuming, like when I'm scrolling before bed, I'm saving ideas. And I create collections that's like content inspiration, and you can break those down into your 5 buckets. So you could have healthy lifestyle content inspiration. I could have travel content inspiration. I could have 20-something inspiration. And whenever something hits, I save it and I put it in that bucket. Whenever I see it, like whenever I come across that stuff, I'm saving it as I go. I'm also super basic, but I'll create like a content plan just in my notes, and I'll take the links from those reels or TikToks and save them in my notes. So I know if I want to do 3 to 5 posts this week, I have those audios or the inspiration for those videos just saved in my notes app, so I can just go to them when I'm going to create content. The next piece of this is knowing the purpose of your content as you're posting it. So this is a web you can take yourself through when you're going to create content. So here's the thing, I think, and I talked about this on my stories, but I have been on social media, treating social media like a business for the last 6 years. This is the first time in 6 years that I have had content go this level of viral. My video on TikTok is at like 700 and something thousand views, right? This is the first time something has ever gone viral like that. Prior to that, it had the most amount of views on any piece of content on Instagram or TikTok was 30,000 views. And if I posted every time with the goal of going viral, I would have been defeated and quit a very, very, very long time ago. 6 years is a long time. Instead, the way I show up and approach my content is to put something out into the world that I'm proud of. So that when I come to my social media, regardless if views disappeared tomorrow, if likes disappeared tomorrow, but if I came to my social media and I was proud of what I posted, that would be good enough for me, right? And I think that's how you have to approach social media, because while there are like tips and tricks and hacks for social media, the algorithm, nobody has it fully cracked, right? There's creators with millions of followers who post something and it flops. So if you get stuck in the views, if you get stuck in the vanity metrics, you're never going to be able to play this game long term. But the algorithm changes. And as long as you're consistent, at some point, someday, something is going to hit. My video on Instagram today, I think, has gotten maybe 40,000 views today. I've grown 50 followers on Instagram today organically. That's 50 leads for my Beachbody business that are going to watch my stories that I can then sell to. 50 people. But again, if I was like sitting here being like, oh, I have less than 10,000 followers, and I've been doing this for 6 years, and I let that be the limiting belief, or let that be the thing that would stop me, that I'm getting in my own way. But if 50 people were in the room right now and I had a chance to pitch Beachbody to 50 new people every day for the next 30 days, how many of those people could I convert? Right? Like that's how you have to think of social media. So all of that is like a big rant to go into this, because that's a mindset I think you have to like create out of. Do it for fun, do it because it's creative, do it because you love it, do it because you want to put stuff out there that you're proud of, do it because you want to connect with people, because I think that's what makes it fun. But if you post only to go viral, you're going to get defeated. When I sit down to create my content, I ask myself one question to start. Is the goal of this post to either connect with a new audience, to grow my following, or is it to go deeper with my current audience? Because those two posts look very different, right? If I want to go to grow my following, I know I want to do a video that's short and sweet. We know like 7 to 10 second videos are going to get more views because they loop, right? We know that I want to look for a trending audio. We know that I need to have a hook, right? Something right off the bat that's going to catch people's attention. That's how we know that we have to keep things super high level, because we can't get into the nitty gritty if we only have 7 seconds to tell people about something, right? That would be that post. If I want to go deeper with my current audience, that would be a reel that's maybe a minute long, right? That would be me telling my story. That would be me maybe showing my transformation across how many years I've done this. That would be me being able to get into more detail, right? Because I know that this is going to get fewer views, but for the people who do watch it, they're going to get to know me and like me and trust me better. So those are two different types of posts. You need both, but you have to know what's the goal before you sit down to create the reel. Is it to connect with your existing audience or to grow a new audience? And you got to mix those in together every week. So if the goal is to gain new followers, I guess if the goal is for either, we say, then what is the goal of this post? Is it to educate? Is it to entertain? Or is it to connect? Because the posts fall into one of 3 buckets. So you have to know your intention, right? And on the next slide, I'm going to show you different types of reels you could create for each of these buckets. But you're going to ask yourself, is it to educate? Is it to entertain? Or is it to connect with people? Educating is we're going to teach them something, right? We're going to teach them something new. We're going to share a tip. We're going to share a hack. It can be maybe super basic to you, but if you're one step ahead of people, you can turn around and teach them something. And that's how you can grow a following, by educating people. Is it to entertain? Is it to make people laugh? Is it to make people say like, "Aw"? Is it to be a light spot in people's dark day? That's to entertain. Or is it to connect? Is it something people can relate to? Is it something people can watch and say, "Me too," right? So that's the goal of either of those posts. I want you to then go, okay, so am I looking to gain followers or connect with new followers? And then when I've decided that, am I trying to educate, entertain, or connect? If the goal is to gain followers, I want you to ask yourself before you post every single time, is this savable and is this sendable? So we know that on social media, the way that your video gets pushed on the algorithm typically is based on watch time, percentage of people that have watched the entire video. I don't know why it's doing balloons. Watch time, percentage of people that have watched the entire video, and then also the amount of saves and sends. So I can tell you that I knew my video was going to go viral earlier this week because the percentage of saves and sends compared to the watch time or the watches was kind of crazy, right? So I have 717,000 views on TikTok, 18,000 sends, and 14,000 saves. So for every 1,000 views, I was getting like 100 sends and saves. But I could tell that kind of right away. So in this example, like this video, it took an hour once I posted it for it to pick up steam, but right away I could see the send and the save. And then same thing on Instagram, I could see the send and the save, but on Instagram, it took like 2 days to start picking up steam. But just watch those metrics, like the percentage of people that are watching the full video, how long people are watching it for, and then the sends and the saves. That's what I want you to look at. So for a video to go viral, it needs to have a high volume of sends and saves. So types of content to create, and I'll post a slide deck so you don't have to write all of these down, but just to give you ideas, and I want to brainstorm based off of some of your niches to give you ideas here. So does anybody want to volunteer? Does anybody want me to pick on theirs? Not really pick on you, just give you ideas. All right, Denise, let me find yours. Okay, Denise's is travels. Oh, that's a broken down further. Let me.
Empty nester, menopause.
Okay.
Farm life,
Oh yeah, I
parent
see it.
life.
Okay, so if I was Denise and I was sitting down, I would write, and I'm going to do a content brain dump. So I do this probably like once a month or whenever I feel like I've run out of ideas or my content's stale. I split my page into 3: to educate, to entertain, and to connect. So to educate are like how-to videos, right? That's like, you know, for me, maybe it would be, if you're into hair, it would be like a hair tutorial. If you're into makeup, it could be a makeup tutorial. It would be maybe like, I know Karina actually messaged me on Instagram. Can you share the products that you use on the beach? That's like a how-to, right? That's educating people. So for Denise, if that would be like an almost empty nester, she'd maybe make a how-to video about her transition to becoming an empty nester. Maybe she would make a how-to video about how she's finding hobbies that she enjoys to like fill her time now that she has more of her own free time. Recipes or meal ideas with your spin. So in Denise's case, right, it could be like, here's a recipe for how to cook for 2 people, right? How to go from cooking from 5 people to 2 people, how to turn the meals you used to make for your family into meal prep for your empty nester. Like that's how specific we want to get, because that's how Denise is going to find her other empty nesters, right? Does that help? Let's say menopause, how-to videos on menopause, how to survive menopause, right? Recipes or meal ideas if you're going through menopause, right? Maybe
How do you, I have a question, Shelby.
Yep.
So empty nester, right? So I have 3 kids. I can't always, like, you gotta respect their privacy. I can't just always talk about everything going on, or that I am like your mom is, you know, she can't just talk about everything, right?
Yep.
So how do you find ways around it that's, I think sometimes I feel like that can be my niche, like that empty nester stage, that stage of going from having kids at home to having no kids at home. But I'm having a hard time kind of trying to talk about it, because I feel like it's easy to talk about the garden or the cows or the farm or whatever, because I don't care if the cows care or not, like, you know what I mean? But the kids, it's harder, right? You can't. So that's where I sometimes feel I have a harder time figuring out how to share that.
No, that's totally fair. And I think people probably experience this too. Like I know I experienced this when I was in a new relationship, and I'm like, I'm not ready to put that out on social media, but it is a really big part of my life.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think instead, what you can do instead of framing it like about you, right? Because like if we're thinking like about us, we talk about like our kids did this and our kids did that and our kids
Yeah.
doing this and our kids doing that. Instead, think about it like how could you use that to create content that serves? So you can say like I'm about to be an empty nester. Here's how I recommend blank, right? Like instead, frame it the other way of like here's my tips to X. Like make it content that serves rather than just talking about what's going on in your life. Does that help?
Yes, that's a great point. Thank you,
Like just
Shelby.
because you can, yeah, you can take that and kind of
Yeah.
like reframe it, right? Where nobody needs to know the nitty gritty, but you still have all this experience that you could frame it of. They don't need to know the nitty gritty to know that you can help them with X, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And I love the idea of how to cook for two people, because that is actually going to be a big one for me.
Mhm.
And I don't use recipes, but I can show how I cook. So
Yep.
I just need to find ways. Yeah.
Or show
Perfect.
how you use that to meal prep or for meal prep for the rest of the week or freeze it for future, right? And this
Mhm.
could go for anybody, right? Like I know Michelle could do recipes for toddler moms, right? Like how to make recipes that your kids will actually eat, right?
Yeah.
Donna can make recipes of when you can't eat anything else because you're pregnant and puking all the time. Here's what I did to be able to eat, you know? Like there, no matter what your niche is, you can take these broad ideas and take it down. So that's to educate. To entertain, it could be vlogs. Literally anybody can make a morning in my life vlog and make it so niche. If you go on TikTok, I'm a big vlog girly, but like when I started looking at, okay, I want to grow my TikTok, it wasn't just like welcome to a morning in my life. What people were creating was very specific mornings in the lives, because that's how you find your people that can relate to you. So for people who don't know my backstory, I always wanted to be a lawyer. So I follow this girl who's in law school, and she says, well, every day, welcome to a morning in the life of a girl in law school who doesn't want to be a lawyer. That is so freaking specific, but guess what? She's viral because she's connected with every other person that's in law school and no longer wants to be a lawyer. So for me, I'm like, welcome to a day in the life of traveling full time. Here's day 382, and today we're doing X. So specific, so niche. And people might not relate to the exact thing, but as long as there's a piece of your story they can relate to, they're going to follow you. So think about what that looks to like. It can't just be like, welcome to a morning in the life of a mom. That's not specific enough. It needs to be welcome to a day in the life of Amber's like an engineer that whatever, right? Welcome to a morning in the life of a toddler mom. Welcome to the morning in the life of a toddler mom whose kid is having a meltdown, right? Like that specific, that's where you're going to find your people. You can do mornings in the lives, you can do day in the lives, you can do nighttime routine like that. You can make so many videos out of that. And that's your to entertain. And those are typically like your longer form videos to connect deeper with your audience. So for this video that's going viral, that's maybe like a 30-second video, right? What I put on my page right away next was a vlog, because the people are coming to my profile to view my profile and they can't get to know me through 30-second videos. TikTok, there's not really stories that people use, right? So people can't get to know me through 30-second videos where I'm not speaking, but they can get to know me through a 1-minute vlog. And not everyone's going to watch the 1-minute vlog, but the people that do watch the 1-minute vlog are going to get to know my personality, decide if they like me or not, and then follow me or not. So that's why you want both on your page. To entertain, another idea, a trend with text. So this could be, I don't know if you've seen like the dance to Beyonce's song that's like, this ain't Texas, and there's like a whole little dance that's 10 seconds. You could do that whole little dance with text on the screen for 10 seconds. That's breaking down like my top 3 tips to X. That can apply to any niche. If you're not a dancer, there's other trends, right? There's Jocelyn and I did like 4 different lip syncs on vacation that were just trending audios that we could have put text over and turned into anything, right? You can do the same thing. So find those. And then skits and memes, like it depends who you are and what you like and what your niche is, but maybe you're not a dancer, but you could do a whole skit about life of a toddler mom, right? And you can make funny things that people are going to follow you for the funny content that's entertaining them. And that's just one piece of your puzzle, but that's a piece they relate on. That's why they follow you. And then they're going to get exposed to your Beachbody content through that. Okay, just message in the chat. Do you want me to keep going through these or move on? I don't want to bore you to death, but if this is helpful, I'll keep going. No one. All right, I'll keep going. More ideas. Okay, to connect. Connecting is also, it can be either or again, where we're talking about, is it the content that's like longer form that is for people to get to know you better, or is it for new people? It can be either or. So like, for example, tell a story while doing something. So a video that I have on my brainstorm list is I'm going to create a video while I'm getting ready one day. So it's like the visual entertainment of me getting ready. I'm not going to talk about anything that I'm doing while I'm getting ready, but I'm going to say like, get ready with me while I tell you how I started full-time travel. I'm going to tell the story about how I started full-time travel. And that's maybe going to be a minute-long video that, again, has nothing to do with Beachbody, but it's going to catch people's attention who want to full-time travel. And then I can talk about to them in my stories, this is how Beachbody is an avenue for full-time travel. Same thing with like literally anything else, you can link it back to Beachbody, right? So if your niche is, again, let's say being a toddler mom, being a new mom, tell your birth story while you get ready, right? You're going to connect with people. Let me tell you about how I blank while you get ready, while you get unready, while you make your pre-workout. You don't talk anything about the pre-workout that's in your hands, but you just tell the story and you're doing something that's visually appealing to the eye while you tell your story. Can be literally anything. 7-second B-roll with text. Now, this is a type of connection video that would be to gain new followers. My biggest tip is literally to film you everywhere. Because again, if you've seen that coffee video, I had no idea what I would ever do with that footage. But I set up my phone literally probably 100 times while I had coffee. I took 100 coffee videos. I had no idea what I would do with that footage. Some of it I've used previously, some of it I haven't. But because I had all that footage, when I heard the audio that made sense for it, I was able to piece it together and create this video. So literally just set your phone up, record everything. B-roll can be as simple as like you set your phone up right now while we're on this call and you're listening and taking notes. There's your 7-second B-roll. Maybe it's you running in the snow tomorrow. Maybe it's a video of you walking along the beach. Like B-roll is anything that's like behind the scenes. Literally needs to be 7 seconds. You can put any type of content on it. And if you don't know what to make content about, you should watch the video on the Slay Squad that I think was Janelle Summers did. That was how to use ChatGPT to come up with content ideas, because that will help you come up with like the text ideas. And then the last idea to connect is call to action posts. So for example, like whether you put this in the caption or actually on the video itself, could be a 7-second video that says like, I'm looking for all the girls who are tired of working their 9-to-5, love fitness, and want to make friends as an adult on the internet. That could be a 7-second video. I just pulled that out of my ass, but an idea. Same thing with like, send this to your long distance bestie who you want to book your next vacation with. That's something I could post because like that is part of like my niche is all my friends are long distance. And that would connect me with other people who have long distance besties, right? You could say, posting until I find all of the people that X, insert whatever your niche is. But this hopefully helps you understand why you have to have that content web. So you know what your niche is, you know what your message is, you know who you want to connect with. And then you layer that with this and you can come up with all of these ideas or put all of this into ChatGPT, put in your niche, and then let it punch out ideas for you. Moving on to some more practical tips. I want to show you real quick how to find trending audio if you don't already know. Before I share this, does everyone know how to find trending audio? Yes or no in the chat. So I'll skip this if we all know what we're doing. All right, no, perfect. Okay, so on Instagram, this can be hard because I can't really show you my phone, but for example, let me find. Okay, so I just made a video to this song that's on the screen here. I haven't posted on Instagram yet. I posted on TikTok. But if you go to watch your TikToks, you'll see that when you find a video that has a trending audio, which is likely one of the first few videos you watch, there'll be that little arrow in the corner. That means that that's trending. So for me, if I'm sitting down to create a video, I'm going to use a trending audio if the goal is for the video to go viral, right? So you just click on the audio, it'll show you that little like circled red trending thing right there. And then you can click use audio. But the same way you can bookmark posts, you can also bookmark audios. So I will bookmark audios if I'm not creating reels right now. Again, if I'm scrolling before bed and I keep seeing the same sound pop up, or I see arrows, or I find a sound I like, I add it to my bookmark folder so that when I sit down to create content tomorrow or the next day, I know where to find it. You go a step farther. If you click on this button, then that says trending, it pulls up the list of all the trending audios today. And then you have the whole list of trending audios. So maybe the one you found doesn't fit your content today. you can find all of the trending audios to find one that does fit your content. The rule of thumb is typically to look for one that has like less than 10,000-ish follow or uses so far, because then you're more likely to get more views as the sound continues to grow. But I don't always follow that rule if I really like an audio. But if you find it with under 10K and it's trending, you found an early sound. And if you jump on that, you're more likely to get pushed as the sound continues to push. This is all on Instagram I'm talking about. But TikTok's basically the same thing if anybody's doing TikTok as well. But all of this, like this list of the trending audios, that's on Instagram. Does that make sense? Last piece of this before we open it up to Q&A is how to read your analytics, because this is super important, right? Like your social media is your business. And the reason I want you to like think of this as a personal brand is because not only is this helpful for you to grow your Beachbody business, this is also helpful to open up other doors on social media. Like if you don't know, you can get paid on Instagram and you can get paid on TikTok for posting if you grow your audience there, right? And so that can just be like another stream of income on top of Beachbody. But you like the analytics, I think, is a really important piece to continuing to grow, because everybody's analytics and like what hits for different people, what your audience like is going to be different for everyone. And so I can't just say, go post these videos and that's going to pop off. You have to like what we call A/B test different things to see what's going to hit. But if something works, like for example, this is from earlier today on this reel that, like I said, is the first reel I've ever had that's going this viral, that's not like a giveaway or something. I want to pay attention to what did I do in that video that I can try to replicate, because it doesn't mean that that's going to go viral again necessarily. But if the piece that it replicate does, then I know I'm onto something, right? And so, okay, I can write down all the variables of this video that it's going viral. And you don't have to do this every day, but maybe in a month or a week, you sit down and you look back at your content for that week, right? And like I said, the most important things are the sends, the saves, and then here's where you see like what hit the For You page and what hit your followers, right? And so if it hit the For You page, that means that we were exposed to new people, which is what we want if the goal is to go viral or more viral or grow our following, right? Things don't have to go like viral 50, 40, 30,000 people to grow your following. It can get pushed out to 10,000 people and that can grow your following, right? So make sure that you're coming back and you're looking at your analytics and your data. So I'm going to go, like I said, write down all the variables of this video. It was a 30-second long video. It was a mashup. The first 3 videos were especially eye-catching. It was about XYZ, right? I'm like writing down all of those things. It was this kind of audio. So then I know. Does that make sense? Any questions about the analytics piece? All right, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I have some questions from my team that I'll answer here too. In case they apply to other people, drop it in the chat, come off mute, literally doesn't matter to me. No question is a dumb question also. So happy to help. A couple questions that were in my team group chat were, how do you create content by yourself? And to be honest, I prefer to create content by myself. It's way easier when you don't have someone watching you. So I use a tripod off of Amazon. If you're a coach and you don't have a tripod, please invest in a tripod. It's really $20, and you could batch film your content. So if you're a mom and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to make videos, take a Sunday afternoon, take a Tuesday afternoon when your kids are occupied, and literally change your outfits and record 6 videos for the week. You know what I mean? Just take that tripod with you everywhere. Mine folds up so it's easy to take anywhere. And I was looking back through to try to create more videos, and I was like, oh, I wish I took my tripod more places, because those are the videos. That's how you get the B-roll. That's like really easy if there's no ledge around to make those videos. So tripod. The other thing that I just threw out and I need to order a new one is called an Octo Buddy. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $12. It's suction cups that stick to the back of your phone case, and then your phone will stick to virtually any surface. So you can stick it to Windows, you can stick it to anything pretty much, and it will just like stick there and turns anything into a tripod. So that's another piece. And then the last piece that I think is really important to content creation is your lighting. Like, it's so important that your videos are aesthetic and eye-catching for the most part, because just as much as like your hook, the first sentence you say in a video is important, so are the visuals, right? And so even like when I'm thinking about creating content, I'm thinking about what am I wearing, right? Like this sweater, I'm like, this is eye-catching. I'm gonna wear this to create content because that's gonna like catch people's eye, right? Or the red nails, even like that's eye-catching, right? And so you can get these little like lights that will clip onto your phone or clip onto your laptop, and it'll just give you that little extra lighting that, especially this time of year when it's dark, makes a huge difference. So those are like the 3 pieces I would invest in if you're wanting to do social media. Another question was, or if anybody has them on the call, I'm just pulling up the chat. How to boost views and how to create content to gain new followers, which I feel like we kind of covered with like expanding into your niche outside of Beachbody. With the research I've been doing right now, like if you're trying to grow on TikTok, people are saying to post 3 to 5 times a day. That tells you the amount of content you have to be cranking out to really grow a following, right? If you want to take social media seriously, that's what people are saying on TikTok. On Instagram, I don't think you need to post nearly as much. But just like think that if you need to post 3 to 5 times a day on TikTok, you probably need to post 3 to 5 times a week on Instagram, because every time you put content out there, again, doesn't mean that anything's going to hit, but the more you put out there, the more you're going to learn, right? About like what performs, what doesn't, what your audience likes, the better you're going to get to at like talking in front of the camera, also in editing, like being able to edit your clips faster, knowing which kind of content you wish you had filmed, right? Like if you're trying to make reels based on what you recorded on the Beachbody trip and you're realizing that stuff's missing, now you know what to record on your next trip, right? So I would say that's like super important too, if you're really seriously wanting to grow, is like think of the volume you're putting out there, and that every time you post something, that's an at bat, and it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. I posted for 6 years consistently. I think I have over 500 posts on Instagram and like 100 something posts on TikTok before anything hit. Took 600 pieces of content, right? And so you just have to think of like that in your case too. Hopefully it doesn't take you 600 pieces of content, but it is just like a numbers game. Other questions? How do you find on Insta where your trends were? So I follow people that I know are people who create trends, or people who jump on trends, or people who are also trying to grow on social media. So like on TikTok, I follow creators who I like lifestyle creators. They don't have to be Beachbody specific. They don't have to be health and fitness specific. Trends go across every niche, right? And so like I follow this girl who's like a mom influencer, but she's always sharing trends. So I know like if I see the same audio being shared from these creators, that's because it's trending. If I know I start to see people doing the same kind of dance, like to that Beyonce song, for example, that's a trend, right? And so I'm following accounts personally that post trends, so that when I see them, you can also follow like accounts that are like called like social media accounts, or like creator ideas, where people will literally just say, use this audio, it has so many views in the last 3 hours, and they'll post like trending audios, and those exist on Instagram and TikTok. And I save those when I come across them, so that I have ideas for when I sit down to film next, or if I'm going to use like video footage I already have and just need a song, I have those queued up. So when I sit down, they're ready to go. But yeah, if I see something more than once on social media, that's a trend, and I'm want to jump on it, right? If I can, and then putting your twist on it to make it relevant for your niche is how it's going to go farther, right? Because if I just take the dance and just like, here's me doing the dance, right? Like that's not going to do anything. But if I put text over that's relevant to my niche, like if you are like trying to get started with your fitness journey, I'm doing this dance, it has nothing to do with the text on the page, but the dance is viral, and then the text is relevant to that person, that's when they're gonna more likely to visit my page or like the video or share the video. You can see your analytics for your posts by going to your profile, and then you just click view insights, and that will give you the insights on the specific post. Or you can go to the 3 lines on the top right hand corner and go to insights, and that will show you your insights over whatever set period of time. So like here I can see the stories that I've shared that have gotten like the highest number of views, how many more accounts I've reached this week, how I've increased my follower count, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that's under insights. But like Shay said, you do have to be like a creator business page, or like you can't have a personal Instagram page to do that. But if you just Google how how to be able to like set up your account to see insights. I'm sure there's instructions. Any other questions? Is there such thing as bad content? I don't think so. Like, especially if you're someone who's getting started, like for me, I'll say this, for me, bad content is if I post something just to post and it's not something I stand behind or am proud of. Like if I just slapped something up with no thought into it and I wasn't like proud of it, then that's like content I don't want to post personally, because I want to like be proud of everything I'm putting. Like, I think you like really have to separate yourself from the vanity metrics. Like, of course, you have to look at the analytics, you have to look at the data, because we're business people and that's what we do. And that's how we grow. You can't like grow what you're not measuring. But when you're creating, you also have to like separate yourself from those vanity metrics. And so that's why I say, I'm just like, if I can do a post that I'm proud of, I can stand behind that, right? But I don't think there's such thing as bad content, because everything is data. Everything you put out there is like a test for what's going to perform or what's not going to perform, right? Like, you don't know. I never would have suspected that a video about coffee would be the thing to pop off, right? That was me just like putting it out there. But now I know, okay, I can take note. And like I said, try to repeat that in other places, and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. And that's okay. But you'll never know if you don't put it out there and you don't try. But there are, like I said, basic things like make sure your lighting's good, make sure your camera's clean, make sure you're in focus, make sure you put thought into the text. I'm not someone who posts every single day on Instagram. Half the time I'm not even doing the 3 to 5 posts on Instagram. Because for me, I'm like quality over quantity, and I would rather post fewer times but post quality things, if that makes sense. And like I said, because I always want to be proud of everything that I'm putting out there. And if I don't have the time to put thought into something, I'm just slapping it up just to post. I know that's probably not going to perform anyways. So that's kind of like my approach to that. But I think there's definitely a balance of like quality and quantity.
Shelby, how do you know if you've got like too much on a page? Like I find that when I'm posting workouts, I have like a little highlight reel, or I think they're highlight reels, like the circles, the bubbles on your page. Like
Yep.
I have one for every program that I've completed, and then one for general body, and then one for nutrition, supplements. Like, how do you know when it's too much? Because you also want to leave, I guess. You don't want to give everything away, I guess.
Yeah. So like you're talking about like in stories, right?
Yeah.
So I think like a kind of a mindset shift is to go from thinking about your social media as like sharing about like as like a me thing, and think about it as like a serving other people thing, right? And so I would ask yourself and like try to think of like, what purpose does having all of your workout clips from every program you've ever done do on your page, right? Like it does show your consistency, but could you show that in one highlight? Because like to me, if I go to your page and every highlight there is about working out, I want to see the other things that make you, right? And so maybe you have one highlight that's like getting started, right? And it's the information on how somebody can join you, but you have the other highlights on the other 4 or 5 pillars that make you, right? And so maybe it's the books you've read, or it's the travel tips, or it's the whatever. And so I don't necessarily think like in stories you can overshare, but I would think that like try to look at your page as like from an outside perspective. So if you found your page and you looked at it, what would you get from it? Would you know how to sign up right away? Would you know what you're offering? Would you know what those 3 to 5 things are that you talk about? And that's how I would like try to look at it. But in your stories daily, I don't think you can overshare. Like, I think the more you share, like you're just letting people in on the behind the scenes of your life in your stories. But your highlights, I would try to use those strategically, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Just one other idea I have for you, if you're like newer to sharing on social media, would be to get in a text thread with other people, whether they're Beachbody coaches, whether you're friends that are not doing Beachbody, And ideally other people that are sharing on social media though, they just don't have to be Beachbody people. But every time you post, just drop the link to your post in that chat, like find your pot of people where you can go and engage on each other's stuff, right? If you see other coaches on the team, comment, engage on their stuff, right? Because that's going to help the post go farther. And if you get in a little pod, and you can do that for each other, of just every time you post, you drop the link, and then you go and you comment on that person's post, leave a thoughtful comment, like beyond just, because I think Instagram only registers if it's so many characters, but if you just leave emojis, it doesn't like weight it as a heavy. But that's just an idea if you want to like boost engagement on your feed and grow a little bit, would be to like get that engagement out on your posts by utilizing the people that are like in our team and also trying to create content too. All right, Shauna said, reminder of tomorrow's Slay Squad call with Julie Boris 2 at 8 p.m. If you need more ideas for content creation, like I said, there's a video in the Slay Squad about using ChatGPT to help generate content ideas. If you have questions, feel free to message me though. And yeah, I think that's everything for tonight. So thanks guys for showing up, and I will get this recording out tonight, if not tomorrow. And we will see you on next team call. Bye guys.